Welcome back, lovely viewers, to another captivating episode of All Kinds of Advice. And today we are diving deep into the emotional roller coaster that unfolded on the latest episode of Love and Hip Hop. From divorce talks to heartbreak and near-death experiences, there's plenty to discuss today. So grab your tissues, grab your tea, and let's jump right in. Okay, so I'm gonna focus on a few people. I'm not gonna focus on everyone that were in the first episode of Love and Hip Hop season 11. I'm gonna start off by talking about Bambi and Scrappy. So Bambi, she filed for divorce. And, we see during that scene where she's at her lawyer and she is telling her lawyer that she wants to file for divorce, and her lawyer is explaining the process. We could see that she's super emotional. I got a sense because I did watch the entire episode. I got a sense when she was with her lawyer that because she's so emotional, I feel like a part of her still wants to save her marriage. A part of her still loves Scrappy, and a part of her wants to work it out. And I feel like she doesn't really want to get a divorce. I feel as though she's kind of doing it maybe as sort of like a wake-up call. For Scrappy to, get in order and, stop acting crazy out here. But on the other hand, Scrappy does not seem emotional to me. He seems that he's a bit, argumentative, even in some of the scenes, like he's like arguing so much. He has that nonchalant attitude. I feel like he has no intention of saving his marriage with Bambi. We seen on one of the scenes that he was doing with Kirk. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna go with the flow. It is what it is. So he's very like I feel like he's not really taking the divorce that seriously. And I feel like Bambi, even though she's emotional and I feel like she doesn't really it seems like she doesn't really want to do it, she should still go ahead and do it and show Scrappy like she ain't about to play with him, and she's not like she is intentional with this and she actually wants to divorce him. But on the episode, we're seeing that Scrappy is like he is showing like flirtatious behavior. He's flirting with on the episode I noticed that he was flirting with Erica Banks. And you know what? Erica Banks looks really good. She's a whole mood. I was watching, she was performing on that show, and I really, really liked her performance, but he was flirting. So I think because of that, he's not ready for commitment. He's not ready to take his relationship seriously. And Bambi should just move on with her life. There's going to be many other men out there that are serious and are going to be intentional with a committed relationship with her. And in one of the episodes, we seen that, in her confessional, she mentioned that Scrappy was behind on half of his rent. So when she actually thought that, the rent was paid in full, it was only her part. So they were the landlord that was getting partial payments, and it seems like they kind of got above their head, above water, where they were behind on so many payments. And we see in the episode that she has to unfortunately find another place for her and her children because he didn't want to man up. Scrappy didn't want to man up and pay the bills and fix the situation. And I find that super super sad that he went through great lengths to woo her, went through great lengths to make her his wife, and then you couldn't even say, you know what, let me work on myself, let me work on my marriage, let me go to counseling. You're kind of taking it as a joke and kind of leaving her out to dry, in my opinion. But I don't understand, like, what kind of man does not keep up his half of the bills? Like, a marriage is a partnership, and you're supposed to come together and take care of things. And if you can't do that, I agree with Bambi. She has all the right to file for divorce. And in one of the episode, in the same episode, sorry, we see that Bambi also said that, Scrappy is still flirting with his ex, Diamond. I believe she's a rapper. They're still having like casual encounters with each other. They're meeting up with each other allegedly in hotel rooms. You know what? It's a mess. Like, I'm so sorry. You're gonna be doing all these things and you're still married to me. The divorce is not finalized. I think Bambi should keep it moving, work on herself, and don't even bother with him. Like, why, bro, like, why are you trying to talk to your ex? Like, that's a past relationship. Like, you're in a whole marriage that should be taken seriously. So I don't know. I feel like Scrappy needs to work on himself, and get it together. And even in that particular episode when they were at the house, and she had like the U-Haul boxes, and they were trying to pack. Well, she was mainly doing it. He was trying to like argue during that episode. But I noticed that when she was like explaining things to him and she was acting a bit emotional, he was arguing as well, shouting on the top of his lungs. And this guy, like, you could know that he's not serious. During the conversation, he started drinking. Like he popped open a bottle and was drinking out of the bottle. He didn't even like pour it into like, I don't know, like a shot glass or, you know, something other than drinking it from the bottle. He was drinking it straight from the bottle. So, I feel like Scrappy does not need to be married. Like he needs to go to counseling, really work on it himself. And it seems that he has some sort of communication issue. Because if your wife is telling you that she has certain issues with certain things, you should be able to take her seriously and say, you know what? I'm sorry, be accountable for your behavior and really talk it out. And what she mentioned in the episode is that, Scrappy does things on his own time. He does things when he wants to. Buddy. Like you cannot have a relationship and be doing things when you want to. You have to get things done. You have to have that sense of discipline. So that's that for the situation with Bambi. I do feel sorry for her that she's going through a divorce and going through this rocky emotional time. But, if she works on herself and she's intentional with the divorce and she goes through with it, I think she'll come out stronger on the other side for sure. You know, of course, she needs therapy and to do counseling. They both do, obviously. And then another person that I want to talk about is Spice. So in this first episode, we see that Spice talks about her near-death experience with Seppas. She talks about like, she actually died and, God gave her a second chance. We see the episode is so emotional. She talks about like if she had, died, the emotional impact it would have had on her children and her family. And we also seen the episode that her kids are going back to Jamaica for to stay with her mom while she's, in Atlanta working and, handling other like business ventures that she has. And we see that she's super, super emotional. What I really loved about the scene with Spice, you could see that she really, really loves her kids and her family. And you could really see that she gives it all to her kids, like in terms of being a mother. You can see that she really enjoys being a mother. But I feel like horrible that, she had to go through this near-death experience. She mentioned that, like so many stories was written on social media that she died. Some of the stories were, false. And then her kids had to go online and see all of that. But shout out to Spice for coming out stronger on the other side. Shout out to her for, being able to, overcome this terrifying experience. It's emotional. A lot of people would have still been in an emotional state, but she decided not to sit around and feel sorry for herself. And she's working. I know I do follow Spice on Instagram and she's doing, her stage shows within the dancehall scene. So, Spice, we commend you for that. I love seeing you on Love and Hip Hop. I was so happy when they added you to it. You always spice up the thing and make it nice. And, Love and Hip Hop would not be the same without Spice. So I'm happy that, the situation didn't turn fatal as it relates to her. And then the last person I want to talk about is Erica Mena. In one of the episodes, Rashida organized, a therapy session where they, a group of women, I think it was not Erica, Erica Mena and Bambi, and then there was Jessica White and Sierra. a whole bunch of them went to this session where they were pounding like a hammer. It was like a pounding session where they could talk about, vent out and talk about any frustrations that they are dealing with, any ex-boyfriend or current spouses that have angered them, or anything that they're going through that they have sort of kept inside. It was kind of like a session where they can use a hammer and, like, pound and like a mash up like certain objects, and it helped them to vent out any frustration that they had trapped inside. But what I found super interesting was when Erica Mena was Erica Mena gave this game her all. She was pounding hard on the objects during that particular game that they were playing. And she was talking about some of her frustrations. She had mentioned that, like Safaree, this is for Safaree. She was like pounding on the table. She's like, this is for Safaree, for all the things that he put me through, for abandoning me, for abandoning our kids. I think one of her kids was in the hospital on like food, they had to give feed him through a tube. So she was talking about all of these things that where she had to face alone. But she was, I feel like Erica Mena during that game that they played, she owned that scene and she did not come to play. And you could really tell that she still hasn't healed. You could really tell that she wants to, even though she's divorced, that she still wants Safari. And, I get it. I'm not going to make fun of her or put her down. When you were with someone for a period of time, it does take you time to get over that relationship. I don't think she's over Safari. I still think she feels hurt that he played her and he abandoned her. I still feel like she feels hurt because, she didn't get that level of commitment that she wanted or she felt that she deserved. But, my main advice to her would be, heal, work on yourself. We know that you're one big set of actress. Continue to, act, continue to do your other, business ventures that you may have. And, over time with the counseling and rebuilding yourself, rebuilding your brand even further, you're going to forget about Safari, and then you're going to learn to just co-parent with him, and you're not going to have pent up feelings or frustration towards him. So that would be my advice to her, in terms of the trauma that she's dealing with as it relates to, her divorce with Safari. But I want to say again, shout out to Erica Banks. Like, my girl was looking good. I loved her performance. I've never really listened to much of her music before, but now I actually think I'm gonna go into some of her music, on YouTube, maybe Spotify, because, I really feel like she performed really well. She has that rich rich bitch like type of vibe about her, like, I'm a boss bitch. Like, I like it. I'm here for it, you know what I mean? But I wanted to come on and, give, some a take on, what's going on with the love and hip hop scene Atlanta. So far it's extra spicy. I am here for it. I'm going to cover more episodes as, it unfolds. But so far, it started off good, and I'm excited to see. I think next scene, we're gonna see where, Erica Mena and Spice get into a bit of scruffle, and I'm here for that. I cannot wait to watch that episode. I want to see what's gonna unfold. But this was to give you a bit of snippets, as it relates to episode 1. If you do watch, Love and Hip Hop, let me know what your feedback was, as it relates to episode 1. Did you like it? What areas do you feel could have been improved? If you don't, watch Love and Hip Hop, and you happen to know these celebrities that are on there for this particular season, let me know your perceptions of them, what you think about them. In terms of my content, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Let's get a conversation. Let's spark up a conversation between each other. Let's make it fun and spicy. But for today, this was all for all kinds of advice, covering Love and Hip Hop, the first episode. And I will see you next time. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel. We'll see you next time. Ciao.